'Cause we lost everything. We had to pay the price. I saw in you what life was missing. You lit a flame that consumed my hate. I'm not one for reminiscing, but I traded all for your sweet embrace. 'Cause we lost everything. We had to pay the price. There's a canvas with two faces of fallen angels who loved and lost. It was a passion for the ages, but in the end, guess we paid the cost. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. Said what you had to say, but a thing of beauty will never fade away. Will never fade away. I see your eyes, I know you see me. You're like a ghost, you're everywhere. I'm your demon, never leaving. I'm made of soul, of rage and fear. That one thing that changed it all. That one thing that caused the fall. A thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. What you did to me, I know. So what you had to say, but a thing of beauty, I know, will never fade away. And I will never fade away.
How are we all doing? Whoa, my mic blowed out. Let me test that out now. How are we going? Is that better? That better? That better? How are we all doing, guys? Gavin Drea is waiting on the line, so why don't we get straight into it with Male V himself. How are you all today? Who have we got in here? Who Cares, the legend himself. If you want to be like Who Cares, you can become a member, help the channel out, help get even more special guests. And guys, this is an exclusive interview. Gavin's first ever interview about this game. This is an exclusive. Your boy Dan Allen has got it done. Doodle, Angelo, Tortilla, Look at all these guys. Look at all you guys in here. I hope you're all doing well. Get your questions loaded up, ready. Here we go. Let's get it done. Here we go.
Hello?
Gavin, can you hear me, mate?
I can, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. I can't see you.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can share my
I can
screen.
hear you. I can hear you, though.
Oh, it's saying that the host has disabled participant screen sharing, or is that something else? Oh, wait, hang on. Sorry. There I am.
Hey, how you doing, brother? How are you?
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Good to see you. Good morning.
yeah, good morning for me. 7 a.m. here, and opposite end of the day for you.
Yeah, 8 o'clock.
How was your day?
It was good. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Pretty good, Nice weather. Yeah,
Yeah?
can't complain.
Where are you located?
Okay. What?
Where are you located at the moment?
So I'm based in London, but I'm back home at the moment in Dublin.
Dublin, of course. What's it like over there? I've never been.
It's good. Yeah, what?
I've never been before.
No, it's it's great. I mean, it's it's where I grew up, so it's home. Yeah, it's good. I mean, we're still in lockdown and all that, so it's a bit tough, but we're coming out of winter anyway, so there's kind of brighter days now, So.
Yeah, I was going to say, how was 2020 for you with COVID and everything that happened?
Yeah, it was bizarre.
Yeah.
I can't complain really. I was doing a show I was doing a play in New York, and the day we finished was when they had declared the national or the state of emergency. So we flew out. So I mean, I knew a lot of people whose plays got cut short, whose work got cut short. And we just flew out the next day. And then back to London, and then there was just full lockdown, and it was the same as everyone really. Just didn't think it was going to be a whole year later, and we'd still be kind of at it,
Crazy, isn't it?
What?
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's hard to imagine, but I mean, no, it was okay. It was it was a good. I was still I think I still recorded some Cyberpunk last year in lockdown. Yeah, we still had some pickups and stuff. So I remember in the middle of like July going into central London, which I hadn't been into in like 3 months, and it was like that scene in 28 Days Later, when they were walking on the bridge with a plastic bag and a shaved head, and I'm going hello, and there was just no one there. It was really, really eerie. It was really scary. So yeah, it's,
People are going to be going, Dan, this isn't V. What's going on?
yeah.
The voice is completely different.
It's completely different. Yeah, I apologize.
How did you come up with the voice? How did it all begin for you? This iconic role.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't know. I mean, like I think we did a question and answers thing a while back, myself and Cherami. It was the first time we had met, and it was over Zoom, and it was a somewhat similar thing. I recorded everything I did in London, or most of what I did in London, and in this side studios, where they recorded a good few people there, like Jane Perry did Rogue and a couple of others and stuff. So, and I went in for an audition, and they just gave me a brief, and they kind of described as this kind of street smart kid and kind of tough. He's a mercenary. He's younger, like he's not a 40-year-old kind of jaded person like that. So he's a bit younger, and I don't know what kind of came out at the time. I mean, maybe I had a bit of that kind of touch of maybe Aaron. Yeah, I don't really know. And I went in and I had no idea what the project was. As is the kind of way nowadays, you don't really know confidentiality wise. So I went in, and Kate was the director at the time, and she kind of broke down what they wanted, and I gave it to them one way, and she was like, good, but kind of maybe a little bit lower, maybe kind of a certain way, and we tried it a few ways, and then I went home, and like any audition, you throw it away, you forget about it, because it could be anything.
Yeah.
It was a couple of. I was like, I don't know, maybe a month or two later. And I got a call from the agent being like, "Hey, do you remember that thing that you did?" And I was like, "Nope." And they were like, "Great, well, you got the part." And I had a friend who, I mean, I am a gamer, but I have friends who are, I mean, put me to shame. And
Yeah.
I had an inkling of what it might have been, but it didn't make sense to me because I was thinking, why would I be in the running for this? Some guy from Dublin, you know.
Yeah.
And I ran it by him, the spec of what the game was in the breakdown that didn't really have any kind of clear defining words, and he was like, "Dude, that's Cyberpunk," and I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
maybe it's a trap, maybe it's a trick or something." And I went in, and you know, 2 days later, I was in recording the
demo.
I did a bit of mocap. Yeah, well, no, yeah, the demo and the mocap for that trailer, which I don't know if you.
Oh, was that mocap? Ah.
Yeah, that was mocap for, obviously not for likeness, but for I guess performance for facial expressions, and so yeah, and that was like 2-3 days later. So I was kind of thrown in the deep end, and again, you know, probably felt like, look, maybe they'll get me for the trailer, and then they'll change their mind again, and you know,
that's what Cherami said.
The constant shadow of just being fired, you know, because it just seemed like.
Seemed unreal.
You know, they had these, you know, these massive actors, and so I figured they would eventually sub me out with some, you know, kind of cool young.
Some guy like Keanu Reeves or something.
Yeah, some Keanu Junior. So, but they didn't, and they stuck with me, and then maybe I wore them down, but yeah, that was it. It was a bizarre, start, and it was terrifying that first kind of 3 or 4 intensive days where we did the demo, we did the trailer. But I guess in a way it was the best sort of process I could have had for V to kind of get into the role, understand what they were looking for, and kind of what felt natural to me at the same time, you know.
You knocked it out of the park, man. I got to say, I'm not just saying that because you're here either. So this is your first video game and first motion capture like you'd ever done, yeah? Yeah.
I did a sci-fi film a few years ago, Valerian, and
of course.
Kind of amazing to work with, you know, him, and obviously Fifth Element was, you know, it's funny actually. Like I obviously went through a binge of like Strange Days and Johnny Mnemonic and a lot of those kind of cyberpunk films while, you know, preparing for this. But yeah, and you know, so I had a kind of a little bit of a sense of that, like you know, in a big green screen set, that sort of thing. But and I've done sort of ad voiceovers.
Yeah.
But obviously, no, it's mainly been kind of theater and film work in my career. So that was a real challenge for me. And I had a really good team. There's a really good team in London. Justin Villiers, who's my voice director on it, and you know, it really helped a lot to have that kind of, you know, guidance, and Boris as well, who was phoning in from CD Projekt in Poland. But I guess it's just like, it was definitely like a learning process for me. I've definitely learned a lot about it. But I mean, at the same time, yeah, like, not only was it kind of first time doing mocap and first time in a voiceover video game, but it was also this multiple choice, you know, scenario. So I know a lot of people kind of ask, you know, how would you describe V? And I'm kind of careful about what I would say, really, because
different choices, yeah.
Different choices. I mean, different choices, and you know, I mean, I've played through it with my roommate, and we went with the hammer stealth approach. So just go real quiet and then wallop everyone over the head with a hammer. Don't kill anyone. We were trying to be really good. So stupid, but like, and that was the thing. And obviously the dialogue choices and everything. V has to be a lot of things and many things to different people. And at the same time, you've got to keep this through line of somebody who's really kind of strong-willed, you know, confident, and I guess a little bit kind of cocky, but only in the sense that, you know, Night City makes you that. You have to be like that to survive, and you have to have that edge. But I guess he is also, you know, he's a very loyal, honorable person to the ones he cares about, and to the ones that kind of get in past his, I guess, his protective shell or whatever. But trying to navigate that as well in the performance, that was challenging, because I know early on, I think I said to Bars, I asked him, I was like, you know, the first few days, I was like, you know, in terms of those three backgrounds, Nomad and
Street Path,
Corpo,
Stray Kid,
like what will there be just a slight affection or a slight change and alteration in the accent, in you know, in the mannerisms of how he speaks? And, you know, Boris is like, look, perfect world, amazing, yeah, but there's just going to be no way, because
too much.
The script came in order. It was too much. You didn't really know who you could have been at any point, so you kind of had to keep it open. So that was, you know, things like that. And once I kind of had that, you know, in my head and explaining it, you know, I could kind of find V then and focus him through. And actually, it kind of was better in a way, because even though, you know, you would think maybe Corpo is a much kind of maybe higher class status person, but really, like, when you think of all those Wall Street guys, a lot of them, you know, the Wolf of Wall Street, a lot of them are those kind of pretty like New Jersey, kind of pretty like, you know, there's a kind of through line to all of the beginning paths of V, you know. But yeah, so yeah, it was an incredible experience. But it was, I mean, talk about being thrown in the deep end. Yeah.
Oh, we will get to your questions, guys, and Mr. Dr. Com in a second. I've just got a few more for Gavin here. I wanted to know, when did you actually know the magnitude of the game? How big it was going to be, the hype around it? Because this was probably one of the most hyped games in history. Dead set. Like, yeah, a lot of expectation.
I think it was my friend's reaction. It was my, like, real proper true hardcore gaming friends' reactions. And, you know, like, you know, my roommate, like, I'd go up for auditions for things where I get parts and stuff, and it would be, you know, an interesting project or whatever, and he'd be excited and be like, "Oh, that's great, that's cool." But this, he just lost it. I mean, they you know, they were just bouncing up and down. And I you know, I guess I kind of know a game when it comes out, but I think in terms of as a gamer, I'm usually not, you know, following IGN. I'm not, you know, in the know of what's coming up. Certainly am now, but at the time I wasn't. So I guess I had heard of it, but I think I'd put it out of my head again, and so yeah, that kind of hit home, and yeah, I mean, you know, with Keanu Reeves and everything linked to it, and then obviously, you know, I had played The Witcher 3, and so,
oh wow,
yeah, so it was, yeah, I know, I mean, it hit home straight away, you know,
yeah,
but I try not to get, you know. I'm kind of one of these people, maybe if you're acting for a while, it kind of starts to happen. Maybe it's a good and bad thing. You lose a bit of that sort of glee. You know, I haven't jumped up and down the way I did with my first, you know, the first few parts I've gotten, you know, that's kind of gone. And in one way, it's, you know, maybe does that mean you're a bit jaded or something? But actually, it's just like, okay, this is my career and this is my job, and this is a job now. And I'm like, okay, great. And you know, you kind of, that lasts for a day or two, and then you're kind of, and then actually what sets in pretty quickly is the sheer terror. You know, you know, the first thing, like, you know, my friends were like, "Oh man, that gaming community, like, I know you've read reviews before for players, but there's a whole other, these people are crazy, man." I was like, yeah, well, we're one of them, so, you know, but yeah, so no, it was great though. It hit home pretty quick. But then, you know, before I knew it, you know, I was kind of in the thick of it, and I was, you know, recording 4 or 5 hours every day, and
wow,
didn't have time to think. You know, there was so much in the scripts, and you were trying to read them the night before, and you were trying to get a sense of the order of it. But you know, I know we recorded that demo early on, which obviously happens early in the game, but then we you know, we covered some storylines that were just, you know, well into the game, nearing Act 3 pretty early on, and you know, so you just kind of had to try and adapt as best you could, you know.
Wow, that's awesome, man. And I'm glad to hear that you're a bit of a gamer too. So you have played through the game. a little bit, or
I finished it.
you finished
I
it?
actually
Nice.
did, well, yeah, well, as in like my ending, or the ending we ended up playing, and yeah, we finished it 2 weeks ago, and but I'm home now, so yeah, I've been playing it with my roommate, and partly because I think I didn't want to play it on my own because I would have been too analytical, and even playing it this time around, obviously, it's a new experience, and it reminded me exactly of like seeing myself in a something on screen. You can't enjoy it the same way, which sucks a little bit, but it's not a big deal. It's fine. But it was really nice playing it with someone else because whenever it looked like it was coming to a big decision, we take turns playing, and I would just hand him the controller, and I'm like, I'm not gonna. So the decisions were kind of his. In terms of it, but yeah, we ended up, and what was really cool about it actually, and just goes to show how well they did in terms of threading the whole thing together. I know it was over a year and a half, so obviously certain scenes are going to fall out of my head, and others are going to stay. But I didn't know what ending I was going to get, even well into the end of it, like right by the end.
Really?
We got as far as. So we went in kind of Johnny style, and we killed Adam Smasher, and we sneak in that way.
Yeah.
And Rogue dying just like destroyed my friend who had the biggest crush. It was like, Rogue's my gal, man.
Yeah.
And that's it. But we got there, and I didn't realize that the ending was going to be the spacewalk, the big heist in the sky ending, which is great, and it's great. I mean, it's funny playing it. I wanted him to experience obviously all of the scenes, or particularly certain scenes that I really enjoyed. But it doesn't work that way, and it's better. It's I was playing it with an actual gamer who was experiencing how they would experience it. And as he said, like when he finished it, he's like, I almost don't really want to see anymore, even though I wouldn't be seeing any more of your performance, because he's like. Because I've had my version of the game now. I mean, I remember we played Detroit. We played Detroit Become Human together, three of us.
Nice. Yeah.
And it worked out really well because it was three of us, and there are three leading roles, so we kind of like just turns. I don't know, it just worked so perfectly. And I would love to play it again, but I can't. That's
it's your story.
It's our story, and that's what's great about these games. Yeah.
See, I ended up playing through Cyberpunk a few times, one as male and one as female, with the different life paths, just to see how it all... And it's funny how... I know you and Cherami, the female V, had to sort of line up some of the dialogue so it was the same length. But very different takes on the character, I would say.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was nice was that they were very kind of cautious about CD Projekt and Side, where we recorded, of not playing much of. I think it was the same for her. Like, she wouldn't hear me that much unless she had to ask. There were times when I had to ask, where practically for some reason, if the line was 4 seconds long, and I'm looking at this monster of a line, and I'm like, how the hell did she do it? She's this incredible. She's just like. She's got just such a mountain of experience over me in voiceover work and stuff, and she just has this way of just being so clear with lines and can say them with ease. But like the dense techno, the pseudo techno lines in Cyberpunk, she would just nail. I'd be like, what? I'd be falling over them. But so there'd be some occasional times where we'd have to hear each other, and it would never kind of cease to surprise me. But I guess you can equate it to to somebody doing their version of Hamlet. I mean, it's all the same text, and yet it's just completely different, and it's great. I think she did such a great job, and I've obviously watched kind of long segments of gameplay of her playing, only because there's no way my friends were going to play it as her. They also wanted to hear me and stuff, so I got to see her version once I was kind of watching clips online, and she, it was great. And it's amazing, isn't it, how it's just a different personality can just bring something so subtly different, with the exact same lines and the exact same scenarios. and yeah, she has this real strong. She has this kind of confidence. And, yeah, it's great. Yeah.
What is the voice something you can just turn on right now, or does it take a while to get into, or because I really want to hear it from you, because I'm actually curious how it. Because I'm talking to you now, it's completely different. Like
it's
most
different. Yeah.
most actors I talk to, it's sort of their voice, but a little bit.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it really isn't. I just like when I would go in the mornings, I go like one of my kind of go-to lines would anything antagonistic towards Johnny. So I'd be like, Jesus fucking Christ, Johnny, get the fuck out of my head. It was something like that.
Wow, that's.
Or just saying like Night City. Just
wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
that is cool.
So it's weird. I mean, I enjoy that though. I like doing kind of impressions. I have a comedy show where I kind of do things like I like playing with voices very different and varied from myself. But I think for me, you see, you kind of have to do that as an actor, maybe more than let's say an American actor, because I wonder maybe this you might find this is the same for you. Maybe did you grow up in Australia, like where you?
Yeah, 100%.
So like. I don't know, maybe I kind of sometimes think maybe that Ireland and Australia have a similarity in the sense that I know a few comedians from Australia, and like, Ireland's this like small country that sits between, Great Britain and the United States. And so growing up, I would get, I'd have the BBC, you'd have Fawlty Towers, and then at the same time, I was raised on The Simpsons and Nickelodeon and all those shows and stuff. So to me, weirdly enough, dropping into an American accent isn't that hard because I would be hearing it all the time. And I think I know a lot of the Australian actors I know. I mean, their American accents are just flawless, because they.
It's the same thing. You're right.
It's the same thing because growing up, like.
It's all you hear, isn't it? Yeah.
It's all you hear. Yeah. So it kind of, I don't know. It's sort of, because it's funny. It's not like, and V isn't the American accent that I would have if I was depending on the part obviously, but it was obviously a very distinct thing, and they were very kind of clear. They definitely had something in mind, the kind of just that edge to them, and they kept coming back to like that thing where like you've got to remember that like he is witty, he's very sarcastic and stuff, but he is he is also a mercenary, and he has to be, or at least he has to appear, pretty strong, because this is a rough world, that they live in, and even though it's also a very silly, fun, bonkers world, as I learned while I played it,
Oh, I can't wait to discuss some things with you, some missions. What about Keanu Reeves when he finally signed on the project? One of the biggest actors in the world signs on. Yeah. Yeah. What's your, because I know you probably didn't meet him, did you? But you would have heard his.
No, unfortunately not. No, it's such a shame. And one that I mean, like I can't complain, but obviously with the lockdown there weren't any conventions and things like that I might have crossed paths with him on. So it was, but I was grateful that like they had obviously recorded a lot of his stuff first. I think initially maybe so. I had his stuff to work with, in the booth, which really helped. And yeah, I mean, it's.
Is it weird hearing his voice, like in your head for all those hours?
In your head, like talking to you, and and like every now and again, you'd almost hear him just in the room, not saying a line, and you'd be like, wow, this is very surreal. And I like to joke with friends and family, like because particularly with my family, video games, like their heads, they
explode.
And so, but then you mentioned Keanu Reeves, and my sisters were like, oh my god, and they were like, oh my god, you're in a video game with Keanu Reeves, and I was like, actually, I think he's in a video game with me. I think he's my sidekick. I was like, just so you know. But no, I mean, it was great. And by the way, like, getting to see him all together now that I've played the game, just like Johnny Silverhand is such a wonderful character. Like, it's such a subtle, like this aged rock star thing. It's so wonderful. Like, it's so wonderfully lame at times. Like, it really, like, with the younger generation, and you're kind of there with like a Mick Jagger, and there are times where you're just like, this is kind of cringe, like his outlook on the world, saying all these outdated stuff, and he was just excellent. I thought he did such a good job. It really, when you see it, you know, all together, and you realize the kind of character that he is, and actually like the way that relationship develops, if you choose it to, is really wonderful. It really is.
It really is. It's like you two have been best mates. I don't know how the chemistry's pulled off. The fact that you've never met, and you know, it's actually pretty well done.
Yeah, it's a weird one, and I think we had it quite, you know, something about our energies. I think like maybe it's that there's a kind of, there's a Johnny Silverhand, you know, there's a young Johnny Silverhand element in V, you know, and so it's what rubs them up against each other so much is that there are a lot of similar qualities, and they don't, you know, it's nothing worse than when you see, you know, some of your bad qualities in somebody else. You can see it, you go, oh god, that's what that's like, and they just gel really well. Yeah, just like, you know, just Johnny just like flipping you the bird and all that. It's just so funny, you know. It's just really great.
Oh yeah,
and a really good dynamic. And I remember kind of thinking as we played it, you know, my friend was like, oh, I really don't want to end up like, you know, he was kind of aware of the story, like he's understanding that like the chip is shifting and the psyche is shifting, and he's understanding that like, oh, there's going to be a possibility that I'm going to have to choose between Johnny and V in terms of who's going to be in the body. And he was like, he was obviously very passionately like, no, it's going to be, I'm not going to, you know, we're not going to like waver here. We're sticking with you all the way. And I even found myself towards the end, like it just got to me, even though I knew what was going to happen. It was really, you really do, he is really in your head. And the way in which they had some of his appearances, you know, in terms of the cinematography of the setting up of where he would be standing.
Oh, he always pops up. I'll tell you what.
Always pops up, and he's like, you know, and they don't know where you're going to stand when you're talking to someone, and he's just lying in the background, or he stands his, and the input's really great, and he really does. They really get that across, that he is in your head and he's niggling away, and by the end of it, you know, it is kind of, you do realize you're like, it's he's been part of you, you know, and it's hard to let go, or it's hard to let yourself go, and you know, whatever your ending is, but. Yeah, he was great, man. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome to hear, Ben. Mr. Dr. Cornbread says, "Great job as male V. You killed it. 2 questions: Corpo, Nomad, or Street Kid, and Judy, Panam, River, or Kerry."
Choices. I started with Street Kid.
Yeah.
But I love the opening of Nomad. I really do. And so the one that's actually just kind of not in my head now at all, in terms of just because it's been a while, is Corpo. And so I will play it again, and I will start as Corpo because there's some really lovely, like that kind of corporate intrigue stuff, kind of real kind of like neo thriller stuff that works really well at the beginning. Look, I guess my answer is Street Kid because that's what I started with, so I guess that's the answer. But not really. I can't.
You can't pick.
I can't pick between them. And as for the, I mean, I don't even know who you listed. Like, so
Panam, Judy, Kerry, all them. Or not Judy, but yeah.
When we played it, my friend was like, he was following Judy around like a sad dog. Like he was just like, this girl is so cool, man. And he kept, he was just like, and I couldn't break it to him. I think it dawned on him later on that there wasn't going to be a romantic option. But so I had to kind of just be like, yeah, let's hang out with her. She's great. And he's like, yeah. So no, but you know what? Like, they were all great. Like Matthews, Kerry's voice, like that's such a great storyline. Like the whole band stuff playing together it really works. Like that scene where they're all at the pool and he poured the concrete into the pool and they're all sitting around arguing, bickering. It's just such great dialogue. And like obviously, who am I thinking of? Okay, well, Jackie, like Jason, was just.
I had him on the other day. What a guy. Great guy.
What a guy! I mean,
Yeah.
and he's such good crack as well. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
never met him, but like, he just
So funny.
Jackie is just so real, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, you've got to get that across in kind of a short amount of gameplay, you know, in terms of like, and make that relationship really, you know, feel like, you know, a really palpable, really powerful thing, and he was just amazing. He was so funny, and together with the whole look of him, and you know, he's this kind of trundling big guy, but he's, you know, he's got this big heart of gold. Yeah, man,
He was
I missed
awesome.
him greatly in the game. He was incredible, but
He was gone too soon, I said.
gone too soon, and I blame myself. You know, was there something I could have done in that tower? You know, but yeah, no, he was excellent. But they were all, you know, and the thing is, it's funny, you can get a bit lonely in the booth in a way. You know, you're there by yourself, and it's just hours upon hours, you know.
But he would help hearing that voice and that.
You would help.
Yeah.
Oh, they all helped, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just everyone, and you know, you would get like, and then of course you get these like, you know, the side quests or even the mini ones and the small ones. You just get these random performances, and I just have the headphones on. I just start laughing, you know, before my line would go up.
Couldn't help.
And it would happen sometimes where we would keep it in just a little bit, like V would just like, what, like,
Yeah.
Sorry, what do you do? What you know, like, just, you know.
I noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great, and you know, so yeah, they were all great. I you know, I trying to give a very
You can't pick a favorite. Yeah.
nice answer. Yeah, you can't. You know, hard to choose.
Thank you, Deathstroke. He says, hello, Gavin. Love your performances, Mel V. Just two things. Where can we mostly see your work nowadays? And second, would you kindly say, yeah, Jackie, yeah, science, in V's voice? Thanks.
All right, let me see. Okay. Did I say that line? Okay. Yeah, Jackie, yeah, science.
That's spot on. That's spot on.
So, yeah, work, kind of all over. Yeah,
A lot of theatre, yeah? Comedy.
Yeah,
You're in the Vikings show, yeah?
what's that?
You're in the upcoming Vikings spin-off?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Valhalla. Actually, I'm in the DLC for Assassin's Creed as well, which is another.
No way! Really?
I've had, like,
Nice, man.
I've had like a Valhalla like 6 months.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Is that a big role, or you can't say much?
I can't. You know what? I can't remember what signed, and so I'll be careful.
No, be careful, please.
It's probably a couple of months away still. I think the DLC.
Cool.
I haven't played it yet. I haven't gotten into it. Man, it's such a massive game.
Yeah.
It's just like the size of it is. Yeah.
I had Magnus on the other day. He's a great guy.
Amazing.
Yeah, no, I've played through it. It took me a while to get through it, though. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's
you got to find the time.
Yeah, totally. Like that's the hardest thing about games as well. You know, some of those big ones. You know, you want, and that's my problem. I don't finish enough AAA games because
of the length.
The butterfly part. I wander off, and I'll be like, 2 hours. Red Dead Redemption. I'll be like, like, honest to God, I'll pull. In Red Dead, I've pulled too many all-night poker sessions in some dive of a bar, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like,
That's brilliant.
we made like $20. I was like, I need to go home or do something, you know. So I'm particularly bad. So like my worry is that if I start Assassin's Creed, I won't get anywhere near my stuff in the DLC. I'll be like years away from getting that far, you know. I'll stop in every town in England, you know.
That's awesome, man. I wanted to ask you as well, seeing that you played through the game, who did you end up romancing in the end? Anyone that you can remember?
Well, yeah. So we romanced Rogue as Johnny. So, yeah. And so I'm gonna have to go back to the point of no return point, because we something was building with Panam, and because I was coming back here, we was like, let's try and finish it. So you had to. We had a bit simmering with everybody, and then like we finished all of Judy's. because he thought that something was going to happen. So she left. You know, he went on that incredible that dive. You know that.
Oh, I love that
village, which is so potent, and I think like really important for people to see that this is what it's going to be like, guys. Like there will be, you know, towns and villages that will just be submerged. Like that's just
it's crazy.
Track record is, you know, that's what's going to happen, and it was really powerful. So I guess in that way we went through that full romance, even though it wasn't a romance for us. It's just that full friendship.
Yeah.
So we went through that with Judy, and then just kind of obviously we helped on River's case, which is one of my favorite. You know.
Oh, what a mission! Set of missions, yeah.
Like finding those clues and those brain dances is just incredible. Like it's so clever, and it's, you know, it's referencing like, what was it, The Cell and stuff like that. I mean, it's so
very
cool.
serious mission, eh?
Yeah.
There's a few like that. There's a few like that I have to ask you about. But I wanted to ask you as well with the romances, because was it true that they ever had, like, because, you know, River, you can only get with him if you're playing as the female V, from what I know.
Yeah.
And Judy the same. Were those locked off? Were they always locked off, or did you ever record lines for getting with them, or what was the go there?
There was one. Did you see the one going around the internet about somebody finding there were Judy lines, I think, and I think that's what confused me a little bit when we were playing, because I had in my head, I was like, no, there isn't any romance here, and then I was thinking, why do I have a memory of this? And so yeah, I think basically there were certain days where you would get the script in,
yeah,
and obviously it was this really impressive Excel spreadsheet which had, like, each line, it had female V and then male V, and then whatever the next responses, and then your possible responses, and the people talking, and they had a link to each of them, so you could try and keep track of where in the quest you were. I mean, the poor writing team who specifically had to work on that Excel spreadsheet, and you know, sometimes it would, you know, the link would take you to the wrong place. I mean, can you imagine like 20,000 lines? Just
it's absolutely insane.
I was thinking, I'm getting a nosebleed thinking about it, but it was so helpful. Like I don't know, wouldn't have been able to do this project at all without that simple piece of technology. The whole thing was, and so there was this one, I think it was the initial one, which was maybe the Judy one, which basically it came along, and we'd been kind of knocking out some lines one day, and then there's a segment that just has a kind of heading which says for female V only, and it was because it was the first one. I think maybe something like the explanation hadn't come in through an email, or maybe it had come in but it hadn't been kind of relayed to my director or whatever, and we're looking at these and we're like, is that just a mistake? Because every now and again you have maybe a grammar or something that's slightly wrong, I don't know, whatever, and typo or something, and you know, a little typo can throw the whole thing off, because I mean, we did a lot of re-recording simply because you have to get everyone to collectively agree on how to say Arasaka, you know, and so, you know, when we first recorded it, and sometimes it's phonetically beside it, and if you get to a word that didn't have that yet put in, we'll take a punt now, but we know we'll have to redo this, you know. So I'll say like Arasaka, and you know, it'll come down the line that it's like, okay, I think in LA they've decided it's Arasaka. We're like, okay, fine, and then we're re-record, and then it's like, no, actually we changed our mind. It's, you know, so that would happen a lot. But
right. So
I think when we saw that kind of for female V only, we were like, is that right? Should we just continue on? And I think maybe I recorded one or two of them.
Oh, okay.
And I think it was just because it's like, well, look, here's the thing, right? If they don't use them, they don't use them.
You just got them there in case, yeah.
If it was a mistake, we've got them there in case. So I think that might have been how that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And I think Cherami, I think that we were talking about it maybe, but I think that happened to her where the same thing happened, and it was the first time it happened, and she was like, for male V only, and she was like, why, what, you know, and that, you know, that was a bit confusing. So
yeah.
So yeah, I think that was kind of how that probably happened, and that's why in my head I remember, and we would still read them anyway out of interest, so I would have these relationships, and I would obviously read the female dialogue, or and
you want to see where it goes, yeah.
you see where it's going, yeah. So I think then when it came to playing it, then my memory was just all muddled up, and so I couldn't quite remember, which was nice because then that meant that I didn't, when playing it, I didn't know what to expect,
So each day you came into work, you didn't know what to expect, what you were going to get with the script?
When I was playing the game. No, no, we kind of go by quests and by blocks,
Yeah.
And I'd have most of the time we kind of, you get it emailed through, you get this big kind of chunk, this batch of, I don't know, maybe 500 lines, and that's what we're going to try and get through in the, this week and next week, and so you go through them, but it'd be hard, on your way into work, you try and be kind of just reading ahead to just maybe see where you're going next, but it would jump around a lot, so and sometimes we would have they'd have nice kind of email images sent through of, I remember they had like nice kind of early kind of storyboards of the dam and of the underwater lake and things like that, so it helped, for kind of to visualize it and stuff. But other times, stuff would just come in, and they're writing it the whole time as well. That's the thing, and
fascinating.
They're changing, so you just kind of had to adapt to that as well. They added things on later on, once they started playing a bit of it, and once they started seeing what they wanted to go, I think actually maybe this is missing, and so you have a bit, and you're like, when was this? It's like, well, it's like, let's say it's like it was during the kind of river story, but it's like dropped right down in the middle, and you're like, oh, okay, that's so things like that. But I can't remember a lot of it. It's kind of
you couldn't humanly possible. It's not humanly possible to remember everything. But not that you guys did. That was just a mammoth effort. Mr. Woozer says, thank you for that, man. He says, can you ask Gavin what he thought of the scene where you let Johnny take over your body for a like Supreme concert? It was pretty sick.
It was. Do you know what? There was a moment when we did that, and when I was playing it, and I remember looking down, down at the front row, and it's this. I would like really, really briefly, like for a couple of years, like when I was a teenager and a bit in college, I was in a band, and it actually was. There was this one NPC that was standing in the front. And he was just kind of like, those guys when when you're standing on stage and they're right up the front, and they're not like moshing. They're like, if you're ever like at a music festival, and it could be like for like, I don't know, like Faithless or like something really like, intense. And there's just this guy standing there, with just like a bottle of water, and he's probably very high or something. But he's just, but he probably isn't, because he's probably just like. And he's just kind of nodding, and it was so. I remember looking down and seeing that guy, thinking that is so real. That's such a beautiful detail. I don't know why I kind of just kept looking at that, but it was great. Yeah, no, that storyline was great. Although I did fight it for a while. Well, as in like playing it with my friend, because I didn't want to give anything away for him, and he kept kind of asking like, if we take this pill, like, is this it now? Like, will he not give it back? And I'm there trying to give a politician's answer. I was like, I can't really say, so he was like, for a while he's like, all right, let's leave this, we'll go do something else. And so he, we'd drive around and find other missions. So it took a while to get there, but it was that whole sequence of getting the band back together, and having to decide between the drummer and the I think he was the bassist. I can't remember the character's name.
There was two versions. Was it Lenny and Kerry?
Lenny and Henry, or Lenny?
Yeah, Lenny and Henry. Yeah. And they're fighting over some. You have to pick one. Yeah. And we had to, and we picked the drummer. Who maybe that's Lenny, but I still remember Henry walking around to the front of Kerry's mansion and just sitting on the steps and just being like, and I was like, oh no, I felt really bad. But it's such a great game for that. There's just little moments where you just kind of, you kind of. What about the Joytoy scenes? Talk to me about that in the booth when you're moaning and. Like, do you know what I mean? Those romance scenes, we'll call them.
I remember. Well, I think it was the first before that, I think the first like actual hitting on someone's scene was one I did with Panam. After that first mission, I think, and you're sitting in that motel, you're sitting in a bar, and it's like a real like kind of Route 66 like kind of, you know, crappy hotel or motel, and it was so funny. That's not what I kind of had in my head. I thought it, also when I played it, I thought at the time it would be late at night as well, and it's like right in the middle of the day. And I remember, Justin, my director, and either Will or Jack, the two sound engineers who worked on it. I mean, these are the guys who, you know, I was working with every day, you know, so we had built up a really good rapport. And there was just that moment where they were like, "All right, Gav, let's hear your best, you know, your best pickup move and stuff," you know. So I kind of have to like saunter up to the microphone and be like, "Hey, Panam, you know, I mean, or we could share one room," and they just burst out laughing. I was like, all right, you know. It was so funny. Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun knowing that I was just gonna make that booth laugh when I started moaning and grunting. And, you know, having to be like, just so you know, this is how V would make sex noises, not how I would make sex noises.
It is bizarre. It must be bizarre for you to do that. Yeah.
But it's probably not the weirdest thing in acting I'll have to do in my life.
No. Emma Pearson. What was your thoughts on Takemura?
I love Takemura. It was his... That was a really fun. I really enjoyed that dialogue because I think he at times he was so serious, you know, and he had this kind of like, you know, slow demeanor to him, and so it was this kind of like, you know, good cop old cop vibe when we were going around, you know, and like some of the exchanges that I think are so funny are when that they added in that obviously you know, I wouldn't have been part of, but they're the text messages that go back and forth, you know.
Yeah, you wouldn't have seen that, would you? You wouldn't have known about that. No.
But they nail it, like, and there's these moments where where Takemura says, like, you know, are we going to meet? You know, are we going to meet at 9 o'clock? We're meeting at 9 o'clock, and you reply like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, just in this kind of like, all right, I'll like, and what was it? It's the mistake, isn't it? Doesn't Takemura? Yeah.
So you got to knock 4 times. If you don't knock 4 times on the door, is that what you're talking about? You gets blown up.
So there's that, which is so funny, and I remember like the dialogue, like, I'm not going to do that, like, you know, and winding him up and all that. But there's another bit where he sends you like an emoji or like something like, hey sweetheart or something, and they go, oh, so I didn't mean to send that, and it says lol, and like it's yeah, and it's a classic like older person doesn't know how to and, you know, and your reply is like, it's all right, you know. So,
there's so many details like that are just awesome.
Yeah, and that parade, that whole mission was
great mission. That's the thing. Every mission is so well done, and like the storytelling, I just love the world because I love Blade Runner, so I just love exploring Night City. It's just so much fun to me.
It's so much fun, and it's massive, and I still have to explore it. Like, I still feel like there's so much of it. Like, you know, do you know actually those is it going down south or is it going up north where you get to those, like, I guess they're like battery fields or something, and they're those like kind of like gray tinted triangular, and they kind of go for like a mile, and it really reminded me of that. Opening scene of the new Blade Runner.
Yeah, exactly. Same here.
So cool. Yeah, I love that. Like the atmosphere of that game of Cyberpunk is incredible. Like, it's just mind-boggling.
What about do you remember the Crucifixion mission?
Yeah.
Oh. What's your reaction to that, mate? That is a full-on mission.
There was something about it when I read that, and it was early on, you know, because I remembered, like, obviously certain. I again, probably one of those people who got too distracted in Witcher and didn't go all the way with it. But there were this, you know, I remember, like, a friend of mine he loves that game so much, and he was, you know, kind of telling me maybe about some of the side missions that I hadn't seen in Witcher, and just the nuance and the like these obscure stories that are really kind of like affecting and powerful that you just don't expect. And I think when I started Cyberpunk, I'm like, I can't wait to start reading those ones, you know, because I know this team, I know CD, like I know that they have that in mind, and that's actually where they really come to life in a way, is some of those side missions. And I remember when I read the Crucifixion one.
Yeah.
I remember going, yes, okay, here we go. Like this is what I was this is what I was hoping for, you know, in like a story of that caliber, which is so kind of dangerous, and it's so progressive as an idea, and it's just, and it's so heavy, and the concepts in it, and you know, this man who's on death row, and the ideas of, you know, these existential ideas of the afterlife, and you know, modernity and religion, and you know, its place in the world now as well. Like, I mean, you know, you always have to remember any science fiction is a reflection of the time that it's made in, you know, and that's you know, it isn't 2077, it's now. And what is it about the world of Night City that you can see in the modern world? And that, you know, that way in which we have commercialized everything, and the media has made us just consume everything for its kind of entertainment value.
That was a big undertone for me throughout that mission. Yeah, and it was very powerful. And playing through it with my friend, and he was like, and I was like, you know, and you know, he asks you, will you be there for it? Did you do it? Did you do that mission? Did you nail him? Yeah,
we did, and it was really, really, really awful.
I know, isn't it?
And you know, I talk about this a lot with my friends, but it's obviously an easy kind of thing to say that it's a great time and a golden age for video games, because obviously they're, you know, just becoming bigger and bigger and all that. But in terms of, like, when you think about certainly kind of Western cinema, you know, after the 70s, once they kind of figured out what a blockbuster was, and once they kind of figured out the formula, not much has changed. You know, every decade or so you get one that kind of breaks the mold and, you know, becomes the standout film or handful of films. But it's this massive medium that's kind of, it's reached a certain point in a way with the big blockbusters. And what's great about the gaming industry for me is that you have these, I guess, you have these massive blockbuster games that are doing these really controversial and really interesting and really challenging ideas. You know, like when somebody goes to see, I don't know, pick a current blockbuster, they don't really have their universe or their concept of the world really challenged all too much, you know. But when
if you're watching Godzilla versus Kong, you're not gonna.
Yeah, you know, you're going to go and you go, wow, that was great, and you know, amazing visuals and some great performances or whatever, and I had a great time. And but you know, during lockdown, I played through The Last of Us Part 2, and it's just, I was weeping, and it was just so intense, and you know, you can expect it. Like, I expect that from the indie films. You know, you can expect that from.
You don't expect it from gaming sometimes, do you?
You don't expect it from the big game, or the, you know, like, and yet all of these massive games they're all doing something really interesting. And you know, there are many by the numbers, you know, just shoot 'em ups or whatever that might be. But even then, there's always a couple of scenes, or there's always something in it that just, you know, breaks the mold a bit. And that, obviously, that scene, that crucifixion scene, is, you know, a perfect example of that. And I'm sure that unsettled a lot of people, and I'm sure, you know, a lot of people were not okay with that scene, and that's okay too. You know, that's part of it, like, because it is art, you know, and it is meant to challenge people, and it can be heavy stuff, you know, but it's important, I think, you know, to have that. You know, we can all get a bit too dulled by, you know, being kind of just spoon fed a certain thing. It's nice
Well,
to have our.
I uploaded that mission to YouTube, and the comments are very interesting. A lot of long comments about how they felt about the mission, and everyone's got a different opinion about it, and some loved it, some didn't. You're right. It's it's a ballsy mission, I call it. Very ballsy of CD Projekt to do that. But
And the thing is, like, you have to ask yourself, like, because the easiest thing in the world would be just not to do it.
Exactly,
The easiest
yeah.
thing in the world is to write it, to record it, and then just come to that point where you're kind of about to pull the trigger, and you go, you know what? Let's just not. The game is great enough as it is. We don't need this. And I think that happens a lot. And it's understandable too. And there's a real line between being controversial. You never should be doing something to be controversial for controversy's sake. They certainly weren't. I think they were telling an interesting story that they wanted to tell, and it's unfortunate sometimes we can kind of step away from that and avoid it. Avoid maybe the conflict that might come with that. But the comments are a perfect example. Like, isn't it funny? Like most YouTube videos, you just get like a line of a comment, or like you get just like here first. I was
Exactly.
Here first,
But this one had full paragraphs. Yeah.
Full paragraphs. That is
Thought provoking.
Gets people thinking. Yeah.
But I think they didn't cross the line for me, and especially because you don't actually have to go through with it. You can walk away. So they give the player the choice, so you can't really complain. Travis says, what would you like to see for the DLC with V? It's a tough question. Just go basic as possible. Just go very basic, or don't answer it at all. We don't want to get you in trouble, so just.
What would you like to? Yeah.
You're looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Some old timey miracle cure tonic guy comes into town and goes, "Fix your brain." I was like, I'll buy one. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
I have no idea. God, I hadn't even thought about that at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just been it was such a nice story, and I just finished it recently again. So it's kind of it's just sat there really nicely, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But the thing is, I just love drive. It's what's nice about those open world games. You drive past a certain building that's kind of just closed off, and you're looking up at it and go, "That's a nice looking building. They could."
Yeah. I'm the same. Yeah. That could definitely be expanded on that building. Yeah.
There's something going on, and you're almost like there's something going on in there, and I know it's I can't see it now, but I don't know. I hadn't thought of that at all.
But you'd love to be a part of it, Mr. Woza. How did Gavin feel about the loss of Jackie?
So when it was obviously came out at Christmas, and so I was back home with the family, and it's obviously such a big game, and it was a big deal, and so I kind of got the PlayStation in the living room, and I kind of had like my family there, and I played like the early stages of it with them to just try and kind of explain to them, like, this is what I've been doing for a year and a half.
Did they get it?
Initially they were like, "Oh, well, that's nice, that's lovely," Well, but what was amazing was that we did the hotel, the heist, and with the spider bot, and we get in for the Arasaka patricide, and we're in that the cup in the wall. We're
watching through. Yeah.
Watching through, and my younger sister was there, and she was like, "No, oh my god!" And when Jackie dies, she was like, "Jackie, no!" And it was great to just sit there and actually watch them, and like all of them were like, and none of them were gamers at all, and they were all like, and they were watching it like they were watching a film, I guess, or whatever, and that was really great. And yeah, I mean, no, like I think we spoke about it before. But
yeah. Great guy.
It's devastating. Great guy, I mean, Jackie's just like, I still remember I just remember sitting outside that noodle shop out down the
Yeah.
steps.
Yeah, great scene.
For some reason, that's such
Great scene.
a strong image in my head. And he's just there eating noodles, and he's just being his like optimistic self, and you know, he was great. And yeah, it was devastating, you know.
100%. Question from Mad Villain, who says, "How did you feel about the Mayor Peralez quest?" Ooh, yeah, good quest. That was a long quest from memory.
Yeah, and I remember, so I really wanted to do that, and I wanted my friend to see that one. And when it ends, it kind of ends very quickly at the beginning, because then it comes up later. It
comes
on.
back, yeah.
And I remember forgetting that, and I was so annoyed because I thought maybe I had just screwed it up, and it was just going to be dead in the water, and there wasn't going to be anything else about it. Because it's obviously this brilliant like Manchurian Candidate story. I just thought it was such a cool, like when you find that inner room through the mirrors or through the paintings, and you can see everything, and have him realize that he isn't none of his memories are his own. You know, it's
yeah.
so cool. Yeah, that, genuinely, that is one of my favorite.
I was going to ask you, what's your favorite? Is there a favorite mission of yours, or is just too many? Because I like, I don't know if you remember, I like the one with the cars. The
Delamain.
Delamain, yeah, I love that mission. Yeah, all those missions.
Any of the comedy stuff. So obviously there's a great.
Ozob the Clown. Do you remember him?
Yeah, Ozob the Clown. But there's a great portal. There's a great portal reference in the Delamain.
In Delamain, yeah, it's the same actor.
It's the same actor, yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I love the Delamain. He was so good. I think he recorded in London as well. Obviously, he's got that great kind of proper English voice, but
yeah,
English accent. I mean, yeah. I mean, I have a particular soft spot for Brendan.
Brian Deschardin, yeah.
It's just incredible, you know.
The vending machine.
Self-aware vending machine. Just so genuinely endearing. But that's so. I love those little small ones. I love the side missions where you don't expect it. But I guess getting the band back together, all those stories. I thought the river searching for his nephew. That stuff was really very powerful, very kind of heavy. The animation that they had, you know, the cows being milked and stuff. That was really cool. I don't know. Yeah, where to begin? Like,
I also like the monk one. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I found that really sad. Like that they did that to him really upset me. You know, that they forced is that the one where they forced the implants on him?
Yeah. They forced the implants. Yeah.
And you're right. You walk past him and there's a guy and he's like looking for his brother and you're confused. But yeah, that one really. That was really. I just really appreciated like whatever his faith was, and that he didn't want, you know, any technology on his body, and for that to happen, yeah, it was really. I remember being like, "That's awful. That's really cruel thing."
This is the thing. There's so many good missions. I hope people get to play them all because.
I know. I mean, I can't even. There's something now that they've gone for me, and I've forgotten them, and that's why I'm gonna, you know. I'll go back to that point of no return in the game, and I'll drive around. And,
do you think you'd ever stream the game or anything like that? It's a tough one.
I might. Yeah, I might do. I might. I have a friend who you know does a bit on Twitch and stuff, so I might.
Yeah.
I
you might dabble.
You might
dabble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deathstruck says, Gavin, how did you tackle the performance for the suicide ending? Since it's a pretty heavy subject in itself. It
is, yeah. That was I guess I don't know, I've played some kind of intense parts of my day, and I guess it was and I remember maybe that day we had maybe been doing something else, recording, you know, some other side mission, and then it kind of just appeared, and we're like, okay, we're doing this now, and I don't know. Maybe by the time I had gotten to it, I was in a really good place in the booth where I felt really comfortable in there, you know. And it's very funny. I think like sometimes when you're, particularly if it's on stage, it's definitely the hardest. But if you've got to come in on stage at a certain level, and or you've got to get very, very emotional on camera, maybe you've got a couple of goes at it. You know, you can maybe take a while to get into it. But even then, it's hard because all of a sudden, you know, you could rehearse it loads of times, and the emotion could come so easily, and then all of a sudden the camera's on you, and something in your jaw just tenses, or something around your face tingles, and all of a sudden, you know, if you're ever trying to force emotion, it'll never come. You know, that's the kind of the cliche thing, and I think for some reason in the booth, you know, like the director's there, he's through the window, and the team are there, but actually I'm kind of in my own space, and I have the lines there, and I actually found it quite helpful atmosphere in that booth at times to do that, particularly because, you know, I think V's isolation in that moment, you know, his feeling of loneliness and stuff, you know, it's certainly it's easily done when there's no distractions, and you can really just take a moment, and you know the tape players record. I mean, as in, you know, they've hit record, they let it run as long, and you can take as long as you want, and you can get those lines out. It was heavy stuff, but the environment that I was in, I don't know, I felt I was, it was.
You're just comfortable, so it was easy to perform in the end, or easier?
Easier, yeah.
Easier it's never easy, no.
Yeah, it's a heavy, Jesus man, it's heavy stuff, you know.
Yeah. Was that the hardest scene, you reckon, that you had to do?
Man, it's always funny, like, I don't know if many people have coined this, but like, that people say, you know, sometimes laughing is harder than crying. Sometimes.
Yeah, you're right.
Really silly moments, or the hysterical moments. You know what was hard was, I recorded some of it in New York, actually, and I was doing a play in New York, and that was just before the end of the world. But they found a studio for me there because they needed to get me stuff, and I, you know, purely on a practical level, because I was doing a show that every night and then going in during the day, and there's a passage where he's sort of deteriorating, obviously, and so it's it's not a long segment, I guess, in the game, but when you're recording all of that, and instead of it just being his voice or whatever, it's like this kind of pained, you know, they want, you know, and the note you're getting is you know, a little bit more weariness, basically, you know. So, you know, we'll record it, and then they'll actually see the environment of where V is, and they go, no, actually he needs to be in a bit more pain. So you come back, you're like, okay, fine. So then you're basically, you know, you're recording maybe like 40 lines in a row where you've got that kind of, you know, that kind of strained thing, and
you're doing an accent as well,
and you're doing an accent and everything, but and that's quite tiring, you know. That was just and of course, you know, V's voice sits lower than mine, which is okay, because the more my voice is used, the lower it gets anyway. So if it's a bit worn out, it gets a bit more gravelly, and it sits into that. But but it can get tired. You know, there's a limit to everything. And you know, I think there was one stage, I think, with that, where I was doing the play as well at the same time, and I thought, like,
too much.
This is not too much. But I'd say that was probably just practically the hardest. You know, the hardest thing to do. Not emotionally, I guess, or whatever. Just in just a totally technical way of, like, just having
the voice strain,
a glass of water with you the whole time and just keep taking sips, and you know, because that's always, you know, anything, if you have to be screaming or shouting or stuff like that, it's you know, if you're doing the jumps and the fight noises and stuff, and they usually leave that for the end, and there's a reason. It's because you kind of have to, you've got to kind of do it, and your whole neck tenses, you know, you're, you know, doing all those jumps, and it you know, it's a lot in a row, and those sessions, they actually normally be a 4-hour session, and
they'd be shorter.
They shorten them, they do like about half.
At least they look after you in that respect, eh?
No, I know. Listen, the whole thing, it's. I guess even when I started, maybe I didn't quite comprehend, just how much recording there would be. But God, they were amazing. They worked
Great to work with.
They were so great to work with. I mean, I just love them to bits, and the whole team over there. I mean, that's the other thing. This is obviously such an anticipated game, such a big game in so many ways. But actually, it's a pretty small team over there. CD Projekt Red, and they're just phenomenal. What they took on, and they just did such a great job. I wanted to mention, as playing through it, actually, a comment that my friend made.
Yeah.
And he's a motion designer and stuff, so he kind of understands it a bit. But just saying that the detail in the clothing, he says, has to be the best in any game. If you go through all of those and put them on and zoom in, or I've got I'm delighted. I've got a PS5 now, so I'm kind
nice.
of playing that, and I walk around now, and I'll just zoom in to just pedestrians walking by, and just the threads, the looks, the design is just immaculate.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're talking about like looking in the stitching, and and the inner piece is snake skin when you notice closely, and then it's just
even the cars. Every car has a different interior.
Yeah.
People don't realize some of the details.
I know.
And these guys, I think people compare CD to Rockstar Games, like GTA developers, and it's just not on the same scale.
It's not, no.
No.
And I mean, it to be honest, it's total David and Goliath stuff, and and I think people don't appreciate that because they can't see that. What does that mean to them? And so you can understand how they don't, but it needs to be acknowledged more because they're just phenomenal, and the writing. And the care that went into it, they really, even coming back about certain pickups that we would do and details that had changed and slight wording. I mean, you have to remember as well that they had this whole new manner of speaking, this whole new kind of almost like dialect for the video game.
Like preem. I've never heard that word before. Preem.
Like a and like Eddie's, and you're thinking those are so clever. Like some of them are really corpos and all these kind of concepts, and but even so they obviously they have this thing where they drop the pronoun a lot, and so it'd be suppose and get out of here now, and sometimes it was maybe tricky for us because it'd be like, wait, hang on, we might have to email them because do they mean
that's what Cherami said, the same thing.
Yeah, so it's like, need to get out of here. It's like, wait, hang on, whoa, do I need to get out of here or do you need to get out of here?
Yeah.
That's entirely different. So, but that is an entirely that's you look at any of the big triple, The Last of Us, it doesn't have, it hasn't invented a new dialogue, dialect and slang and way of and manner of speaking. That is and that reminded me, that was the closest to working with a playwright who has a specific style.
Yeah.
That's the rhythm. It has to be like this, and that full stop is there for a reason. And that was what it was like. And you're thinking, this is incredible that they that they're doing that on top of writing. First of all, they're writing enough story. 6 games, right? Let alone 1.
A full TV series. 8 seasons.
8 seasons. Yeah. Plus a spin-off,
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Dr. Gordon says, I'm a big fan of Gavin as Luke from Love Hate. Glad to see an Irish actor in a lead role in a AAA game. I was delighted to see him as V. Dr. Gordon.
Good man. Yeah. That was a long time ago. Yeah, it was a series in Ireland, and I played a bit in the UK. It was great. It's a long time ago now, but it's a good show.
Hello, Gavin. Do you have a favourite weapon in the game? I thought the Valerian Arms 3516 Johnny's gun was pretty dope from Makaza.
Yeah.
I like Skippy. Do you remember that gun?
Skippy was, I remember Skippy, but I haven't found Skippy yet playing in the game. It's really annoying.
Yeah.
So I haven't actually experienced Skippy yet in game, but no, Johnny's gun, I can't the fact that Johnny has a particular reload style as well, like, you know, that was so cool. But again, going back to we were hammer stealth all the way. Yeah, that was our jam. We just found the best blunt instruments. So we have this big orange hammer. We got these big goofy kind of Mad Max goggles on, and there's nothing more satisfying than, you know, than short circuiting their optics and then walking around and just holding down and just bonking people over the head. And I think there's a certain joy to it in the fact that, like, this incredibly well designed game, and they've got like great, you know, gunfighting styles and stuff, and we're just going around bonking people on the head with like a mallet. It's very funny to me. I think that's just like,
well, there's a very interesting weapon. I don't know if you know it, but you can unlock it. Very long, very interesting weapon that I used that I couldn't upload to YouTube. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, or?
I actually maybe I don't. I don't.
No.
Like, look.
I think it's long and purple. Does that give it away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that packs a punch.
So you mentioned you do some comedy. You got a comedy show? Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah. It's a Dream Gun. Is the name. It's like a comedy trio, and it's three of us, and we used to put shorts up on YouTube like years back, kind of something to do in between work. It was really fun, and now we started writing this like live show, which sadly obviously we haven't done in a while. But we would we were in Adelaide Fringe just before lockdown, or as
so you've been here before. Nice.
So yeah, well, I was in New York at the time, so the show went over. The other guys in the show. We cast basically. Our main show at the moment is this thing called Film Reads, where we're all big film geeks, and we take basically classic blockbusters, and we do like a rehearsed reading, so everyone has the scripts, but we've changed all the dialogue, and we have like a
narrator, that's awesome.
And we get kind of well-known comedians and stuff.
That's great.
You know,
where do we find that? Is that a live show, or is that
there's a podcast. You check out the podcast, Dream Gun Film Reads, and so it's a live show, and we've recorded it live. So hopefully we'll be back soon, because we usually do Edinburgh, and you know we've taken it to Australia, and it's sad we would be there in Adelaide at this time.
Yeah.
Traveling, you know, you can't get out and stuff, so it's a shame. So it'll have to be next year. But so we've been doing that a bit in London and Edinburgh and places like that. So and we're just writing some other stuff, which is great because it's just nice. I just really enjoy the writing, and it's good for the soul, you know.
Have you ever seen Aunty Donna from Australia?
Yeah. We love them. Yeah. And it's very much that style. Like, it's very
improv. A lot of improv.
Well, yeah, you'll get improv with the actors, because the idea is when we get our cast, you know, and we've had like Australian comedian. I don't know if you know the Bear Pack. They're improv duo.
I don't know if I've heard of them. I've probably seen them. I just don't know if I've.
I bet you've probably seen them. And,
yeah.
But yeah, so we well, basically the idea is, you know, we'll do like Home Alone or something, and we'll be like, okay, so, you know, you're going to play John Candy, and you've got all these lines and stuff. So you get the actor in, whoever it might be, and they haven't read it before, you know. So you get a lot of corpsing in the moment, like live on stage, and you get a couple of moments where people go off the book a little bit, and that's funny. So but it's not technically, it's not improv in the sense that it's obviously scripted, and they have the script in front of them, but yeah, it's good fun. Yeah.
Is it great. Good reaction from the crowd?
It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
we started it. It actually began as a fundraiser for another show that one of our guys from the group was taken to Edinburgh, and we were like, let's not do a table quiz, you know, where we charge a $5 in. So we read Jurassic Park, and we just read it just to 15 friends in a pub. Like, that was it. And it kind of started as that, and then we did Goldeneye, and it just went from like 40 or 60 people coming to see the show to like 1,000-seater venue in Dublin, and it just like took off. It's just this really it's just
Wow.
I guess our fan base is kind of like, you know, you get the most out of it if you know the film, you know, and we don't pick anything too obscure. And we actually did The Matrix, you know, so I got to do my Keanu, which is very funny. Then, like a couple of years later, then I'm, you know, doing this. But yeah, it's great. It's a really fun show. It's an amazing show to be part of. And you know, it's also fun as well as an actor because you get to live out some of the, you know, the old kind of classic roles, you know, but like put a comedic twist on them, you know, which is cool.
That's great. Mikaza says, if you could join any gang in Night City, which one would you join?
Well, I would be the whitest member of the Voodoo Boys. You know, I'd love to be like the one Irish guy. I'd be the one Irish guy. Like, how's it going? What's up, crack? What are we doing today? Constantly just getting like weird looks from everyone. I don't know which gang. I'm
trying to remember them all. There's so much stuff to remember in this game. I tell you what.
I know. I don't. I don't know how any. Like I never kept all of it in my head at one time. Anyway, that's for sure. Like, I don't know how.
You can't. Parvizzle says, "Hey Toombs, I love Delica Supreme a lot. Where you get to play as the Samurai Band, which we mentioned earlier. What is your favorite car, Gavin? If you haven't answered that already, favorite car?
Yeah, well. So we did that mission with Rogue to find that guy on that freighter, and there's a isn't that how we get it? I think. And there's a container, and it's got Johnny's Porsche 911 in it.
That's right. Yeah.
And what I really like about it is it handles like Johnny's personality. Like the back of that thing just swings wildly, and like James, my friend, got in and straight away and started driving fast, and he just started spinning out of control. And I thought he was taking the piss. I thought he was just doing it like being over the top. And he's like, I'm going in a straight line. And I was like, this is so Johnny's car. We were just like,
you're actually 100% right. They would have done that on purpose, for sure.
They've definitely done that on purpose. And I love it. And it's great because it really feels like real. Like it really makes it feel real for some reason. Like, I kind of like that the handling's a little harder than some games where, you know, you just kind of R2 and you cruise and it's great. It's like, no, I want it to be sloppy because I would prefer to drive around in Night City as a bad driver. It would feel a bit more realistic or something. So that was good. And then I hadn't been kind of going and buying many vehicles because I that's usually what I do when I play a game. I'll try and, you know, I'm a completionist and I'll
try and get everything. Yeah.
I was trying to be disciplined. I was like, no, I need to get to the end of this game because I'll never forgive myself if I don't. So I put that aside. But I did not accidentally, but I did stumble across one, and I can't remember the name of it, but it's definitely like based on the Akira bike, so it's the red one.
Yeah.
That looks great, and I just like driving that around.
I think I ended up using Jackie's bike a lot.
It's beautiful. Like, it's gorgeous. That's one of the arch ones. That's one of the
Keanu Reeves band.
Beautiful design.
Favorite? Oh, this is a tough one. Favorite line? I'm torturing you. Favorite line? Good luck trying to think of it. Just think of anything. I mean, that's so hard. Like, that is. People don't understand how hard of a question that is, especially for you with all the lines.
Yeah. No. No, I can't.
Your brain's gonna explode. Yeah. It's all good.
I just can't think of anything that's like. I wish I had a really, really good one that would come to mind. But like any time I could tell Jackie to go, or tell Johnny to go fuck himself. Like anytime where I just like, Johnny, just, you know what, just get the, shut the fuck up. Like that was just great. But and then I like lines like talking vending machine, like any time where, like, if you take the line itself and just have it written down on paper, you go, oh man, this is going to be a weird quest, any line where it's just like, You know, anyway, but I can't think of a specific one.
That's awesome.
If I had a better memory, I would have a better answer.
Yeah. For Gavin, favorite movie and favorite games. Favorite movies of all time, favorite games of all time for yourself. Big question.
Yeah, I try not to kind of get caught into the favorite movie. I kind of will just
give us some you love then.
So many, you know, but
yeah.
Like in terms of favorite game, so I really like indie games. Well, I'm actually
really?
very I'll get stuck in a loop of just like trying to get to the end of Spelunky 2, which I finally did on my 1000th attempt.
Nice, nice.
And I don't think there's anyone as bad as Spelunky as me, and it's terrible. But so I'll have a thing where I like a platformer and something like that. But
yeah,
the Witness I played.
Oh, nice. Yeah, puzzle game.
Yeah, but because I was like, oh, this is nice, a puzzle game, and this will be relaxing. I like this, and then
the end.
And then by the end of the game, I would walk outside and I would like, oh my god, I can see the patterns of the universe. This is insane, you know. Like he's that. And Papers, Please, all of those, you know. Return of Obra Dinn is great. So I really like those kind of clever ones. At the moment, I am playing Disco Elysium.
Nice.
I don't know if you've got a chance to play it yet.
I have. Great game. Yeah. Fantastic.
Incredible game. And it's what a great game that it's making fun of me. It's so funny. It was just completely mocking me. Like the other night, I was playing it, and I think one of my thoughts popped up, and it's like, oh, you are an honorable man. And I had obviously tried to do the right thing for too long. And I was like, oh, what an honorable man you are. It's like, here's honor points, and I'm like, my reply is like, I don't want honor points. And it's like, oh, that makes you even more honorable. And I was almost
so
like
good.
playing, I was like sitting like this. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so lame, you know.
Amazing indie game, that one. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, deserved all the critic success. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's such a phenomenal. But I'll ebb and flow. Like The Last of Us Part 2, you know. Just
did you beat that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a heavy ending. That ending was intense.
A little bit heavy, yeah. Shit.
Yeah, I know. We need a lot of heavy endings in these games. You know?
We need something light, don't we?
Yeah. And then I like Souls-like, so I during lockdown when I had some time on my hands, I got
Demon Souls, Sekiro.
So Sekiro, yeah, I did Sekiro before Christmas, and oh my god, what a beautiful game! Just beautiful. Like the landscape is just stunning, and the combat in that game is just incredible. So yeah, I haven't played Demon Souls yet, because obviously now I just got the PlayStation 5, so that's it. It's gonna be, it's a tough choice because it's got to be that or Hitman 3 or obviously Resident Evil when it's gonna come out.
Oh, dude, you got to play Hitman 3. A phenomenal game, seriously.
I can't. I think one of our dreams when the world gets back to normal, the three of us in Dream Gun, is and now when I say dream, it's something that I keep suggesting that the other lads are like, that's stupid, is to go to Sapienza, which is that level.
Yeah.
Perfect. I was like, no, we can go to Sapienza, we can write some comedy, we can shoot some inflatable crocodiles. But yeah, no,
the mission design in that game, man. The what is it? The mansion, the Knives Out parody, I call it.
That's in the new one.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah. So cool.
They're so clever, those games. I mean, the elusive target concept blew me away, and getting Sean Bean in was so funny. I mean,
that's so good.
So good. Like I really do enjoy games with a sense of humor, and and those games are just on another level. And the throwing, there is nothing more satisfying than getting an expired can of spaghetti and just nailing someone in the head with it. There's just that shouldn't be that fun. And yeah, great games. Yeah, so I guess I'm
Nice. What about movie? Any you can recommend for people watching?
Oh yeah. Oh, like I studied film in college, so I'm at the point now where I'm kind of like during lockdown scraping through finding some real weird, like there's a
You
great
watch a lot of indie stuff like
yeah,
A24 or
yeah, a lot of indie stuff, but like but I'm kind of at the moment like, so obviously I've seen a lot of like the 70s classic, great, like The Conversation or whatever. So now I'm into like, there's a great IMDb list of thrillers from like the 90s.
oh, you're going way back.
Yeah, but like obscure, kind of like, and stuff I saw when I was young, but I didn't quite kind of appreciate, like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. Like I love kind of random thrillers from the 90s, like, or like a bizarre, very silly David Mamet film, like The Edge with Anthony Hopkins and
Okay,
Alec
you need
Baldwin.
to shoot me this list after we go
Right,
off
yeah, I
air,
will.
please.
Well, like, yeah,
I need
it's
some good thrillers.
Yeah, man. Like, I just guess I'm kind of a bit worn out by the stuff on Netflix at the moment. I'm kind of, and I've
Oh yeah.
seen too many true crime docs or something. I mean, I still watch them, but so during lockdown, I think lockdown one, as we call them, there was a courtroom drama called "And Justice for All," which is a Al Pacino. It's actually where you get the famous "No, you're out of order." The whole courtroom's out of
Oh
order.
yeah.
And
Yep.
it's amazing, and it's really funny, and it's also brilliant. So I guess I would recommend that. And I couldn't, like, Memoirs of a Murder or Memories of a Murder.
Is that Bong Joon?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Great movie.
Yeah, I watched that a couple of months back, and that's kind of just stayed with me.
That's a great movie. Yeah.
He's magic. He's
Can't wait to see what he does next, hey.
I know, man.
Parasite was a masterpiece, in my opinion. What a film.
It's incredible, yeah.
How can you blend comedy and, not horror, but like thriller, comedy and drama and
He casts so well. He gets actors that can nail that ability to also be really slapstick. Like, he loves a wide shot. Like, he'll you don't get that kind of comedy anymore nowadays.
No.
Certainly in Western stuff, where it's real physical comedy, and he gets that so good. I mean, The Host. I mean, that like sequence of they're all running away. His films are phenomenal. But oh God, who knows, man? A long list.
Vikings, the spin-off, that's going to be a great show.
That's gonna be great. It might be a while before it's out.
Oh, really?
Maybe still filming. No idea. Don't know when the date is, but I was filming before Christmas. It's great, man. It's and it's Jeb Stewart, who the showrunner who wrote Die Hard, which is very cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's amazing.
I've worked with him, and he's a real gentleman as well. He's a really nice guy. So he's done a really good job. So check that out. And I've actually, there's a film I did, which it's kind of doing the festival circuit at the moment. I think it might be coming out in. Do you have cinemas back open in Australia?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Yeah, so the film I did called My Salinger Year, which is like a coming of age story set in the 90s, and I saw it only the other day at the Dublin.
Sigourney Weaver. Yeah.
Yeah, she is brilliant in it. She's really subtle. She's really nuanced. It's an excellent film.
Wow.
Anyone looking for a nice watch, check that out as well. It's a really, really lovely film. I'm not sure exactly, what it's available on, and but
yeah. No, I'll definitely check that out. What about Valerian? How was that, working on that?
Yeah, it was good, man. It went over, and it was incredible. He had sort of built this thing called Cité de Cinema, which just outside of Paris, and it looked like an old school, like, Hollywood lot. It was like a 6 studio building. 5 of them were being used for Valerian, and one of them was being used for this TV series with the French actor he's in Munich. I can't remember his name, but Luc Besson was a really interesting guy to work with, and
I love Leon, the
Leon
professional.
And Fifth Element, obviously, as as a sci-fi geek, was just, it's so iconic. And man, Valerian, like that whole opening sequence, and
I think it's
so
underrated movie. Sorry to keep cutting you off. I think it's an underrated movie. I do.
Really, it's really, really good. It's a lot of fun. And when you think about like, so I think it has this weird statistic as being the biggest budget indie film, because it was made, through his company or whatever. Like, it's not a Hollywood studio movie, and but by that virtue, it sort of awkwardly falls in as like an indie film, but like a massive blockbuster. But it's an interesting thing, because obviously the comics were the big inspiration to kind of all sci-fi, Star Wars and stuff. It was all kind of copied from that comic, so it was a lot of fun to work on. It was a crazy set, beautiful. And what I really appreciated about it was they obviously had the big blue sheets and the big blue screen, but my scene, it had a load of props that were really usable and stuff. And that's one of the things that you don't get a lot of the time, with those big CGI stuff. He had found a way to kind of have a really beautiful props department that had designed some really beautiful items and guns, like that really looked like, like where were these when I was like, 12 years old, like, messing about as a kid. They looked amazing. They looked straight out of a child's imagination as well.
Oh yeah.
So that was a really great experience. Yeah, it's a while back now, but yeah. Good
so in your future, I'll give you a few more before I let you go. In your future, are you looking to do more video games? Is that something you want to keep diving into, or you still want to do movie, theater, TV?
Never again. I'm not. No, man. No, absolutely. Like, look, as an actor, sometimes it's a job. You take what comes as well. Particularly.
Yeah.
These are hard times for people. I was very lucky. I was filming, Valhalla during lockdown, and we were all getting tested, and we were probably one of the only few things filming in UK and around Ireland and stuff. So I was very fortunate. So part of me has to say, look, take the work that comes, but at the same time, absolutely, I would love to work on more video games, particularly because it's an art, it's a medium that I really respect, and really appreciate. And it's funny, it's a bit sad that I still do meet a lot of actors sometimes that
don't get it.
They don't get it.
Yeah, that's sad.
Or they think it's like getting a car insurance voiceover out there. Like, oh yeah, it's great because a bit of money pays the bills and stuff. And you're like, no, it's not just that. Like,
I was in Cyberpunk, man. Yeah, it was played by more people that watch your movie.
Yeah, I know, and that was the thing that my friends were like, your extended family, your family aren't ever really going to understand this, are they? They're like, they're going to think it's great and it's a video game's great, but they're not going to know that like millions of people play this, and that's quite funny to me. But it's a shame that more actors don't, and I think they are. They're learning.
They're getting better, I think.
They're getting better, yeah, because the writing's getting better. The performances are getting better. It's harder to turn down now. I think it's really fulfilling stuff. I found working on Cyberpunk, one of the best experiences of my life.
That's amazing, man. Well, thank you so much for coming on, brother. It's been a absolute delight. Hour and a half it's flown by. I don't know about you.
Yeah, man. You're ready for the day now.
No, 100%. You're about to head to bed.
Yeah, man. This is it. I'm pooped. I'm done.
Oh, beautiful, man. Well, hopefully we can chat soon. Again about that Assassin's Creed DLC. Hey, can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Beautiful. Before I let you go, mate, can I get Male V to say something about Dan? Is that possible?
Dan, unless you put the Eddies up front, you ain't getting shit. I ain't giving you. I know. What do I say? That's all I got.
No, that's beautiful, man. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Thanks so much. Where can people find you? Instagram?
Yeah, I got an Instagram. I tried. I'm not very. I'm awful at it. People were like, "You should get on it." I was like, "I'll try. But yeah, it's there, and yeah, check out the Dream Gun stuff if people need a laugh, particularly in these times. It's a nice way to make you smile and stuff. So yeah, check that out. And yeah, man.
And play Cyberpunk Male V. Legendary performance.
Repeatedly over and over again.
Thank you, man.
I've got lots more to find, you know.
Yeah.
I gotta find Skippy, you know.
Oh, you got a lot to find, 100%. You got to find the flaming crotch guy. Have you ever seen, that mission?
Oh no! Why did I end up with it's like the first thing I found. These people find me. Yeah. Crotch guy. Yeah.
Nah, thank you so much, man, for taking the time. I really appreciate it. Have a good night's sleep.
Yeah, you too. Have a good day, man.
All right, take care, mate. Thank you, man.
All the best. See ya.
There you have it, guys. Gavin Drea, absolute legend of a bloke, Male V. Did you enjoy that? What a great guy. Big gamer too, which was great to see. And you can follow him over at Instagram. Link in the description if you want to go over and follow him. And make sure you play the Assassin's Creed DLC, which he will be in. And who we got in here? Tortilla. Thank you so much. No worries, man. Just Vincent. Thank you. NALG. Blue Storm. Rolani. See you in the major leagues, Gavin. Maria. Rex Talbot. Matthew. You enjoyed that, guys? That's awesome. No, great guy. We got a lot out of him, and that was an exclusive, guys. As I said, this is the only interview on YouTube, so a real honor for him to come on here first. I really appreciate it. Stan, Hollow, McCarthy, thank you so much for the super chats, guys. Whoever did a super chat, really appreciate it. Whoever became a member of the channel, again, keeps the lights on, Mr. Dr. Cornbread, thank you so much, man. Parzival 951, thank you. Dr. Gordon, thank you. You guys looking forward to a couple more this week? Who have we got? I mean, we're just flying, baby. We got Ghost of Tsushima, Jin Sakai. Come on, how good's that? We got Dutch from Red Dead. We've got Panam coming on. I mean, guys, I'm going all right. I'm going all right. Super fun. Yeah, so we've done Jason Hightower. We've done who was Jackie, male V, female V, and now we've got Panam on. Thank you so much for the interview. First time I watch your content. This is amazing. Thank you for stopping by. Consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. Chloe, no worries, Chloe. Thank you. Yeah, I'd love to get Gavin on again, and I'm sure we will. We will get Gavin on again. Matthew, Doodle. Not to sound bad, but it's my attention span. But I watched the whole interview. Whoa, it must have been good then, hey? Matthew, absolutely amazing interview. Thank you so much, man. Tommy Lucas, brother, how are you, man? I didn't see you. I love you, brother. You just waking up? Guys, if you want to know who does my music, it's the man they call Tommy Lucas Music. Check him out. Legend. Thank you, who cares? I appreciate that, brother. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. We're at 274. We got to get to 300, surely. Judy, Antonio. I'd love to get Judy on. I would love to get Judy on. I'm working on it. She hasn't done any interviews, much like Gavin, so it would be an exclusive as well. Can't wait for Dutch, aka Plan. Yeah, he's gonna be awesome. Can't wait for him. And I'm actually hopping on another podcast in a couple of hours, guys. If you want to join me, they're interviewing me, the Irish podcast. So if you want to check that out, guys, you can do that as well. Should be a lot of fun, being the one being interviewed for once, eh? Yeah, Benjamin Brian Davis is on tomorrow at 2 p.m. PST. All right, so around this time tomorrow, if you want to stop by for that. He's obviously from Red Dead 2 and a bunch of other stuff. Red Dead 1. Keanu Reeves next. I actually get this a lot. Keanu Reeves unfortunately won't be coming on the channel, guys. I wish. He won't answer my calls, the bastard. I mean, I think he's shooting some small indie. I think it's called Matrix 4. Oh, what a great wake up, Tom. Thank you. It's great to see your lovely face. Nice loot, bro. Enjoyed the interview, Dan. Thank you, man. Good to see you back here. Bringing Kerry on. Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's get Judy, River, and Kerry. And then we'd have the whole crew, wouldn't we? We'd have the whole crew. We got Panam next. If we got Judy, River, Kerry, I mean, we got everyone except for Keanu. Chloe, I subscribed. Thank you so much, Chloe. Really appreciate it. Peter was working, caught half the interview. Very interesting. We'll post a link on my Cyberpunk online news. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. I enjoyed your interview with Panam as well. You did a great job, brother. Kotul Khan. Christopher Judd from God of War. I get this a lot. I really want to get Christopher Judd on. He's not an easy man to get a hold of, though. So, and I think a lot of people don't understand the rejection I get. They just see the names that I get. They don't understand the rejection. It's a part of it. You got to love it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that. If you haven't subscribed already, please do become a member. You know, it really helps me out. And just sharing the love, I call it. Share the love with all. Share the video. Share the love. You know what I mean? And also, just let me know who else you want to see on. Always helps. Kerry reminds me of Freddie Mercury. Yeah, I know, right? Ben the Nerd, you've been powering through these, man. I really have. I've done a lot. Shit, I've done a lot. Yeah, it all started with Bruce Thomas back in November, December. And since then, we've now done about 18, 19 of these. So there's a whole playlist of my interviews, guys, if you are new here. Done a bunch of characters and legends in the video game sphere. When is Panam? The Panam interview will happen Friday, 5 p.m, March 19. Friday, 5 p.m. PST, March 19. Me and Panam will be live here. Just like this chat with Gavin, we'll get to chat all things with her. She hasn't done many interviews as well, so it'll be great to talk to her about everything. And you know, she was a huge character, really brought a lot out. So Maria, I found your channel a few days ago. You're doing great work. Keep it up. Oh, thank you, Maria. I really appreciate that. Dutch tomorrow. Dutch Vanderlin tomorrow, 2 p.m. PST. Don't miss it. Mr. Was, I got a new subscriber. Can't wait for the rest of the interviews. Thank you, man. And if you haven't checked out the others, again, there's a playlist. Just probably type in Dan Allen interviews on YouTube. Probably comes up. Dan Allen interviews. See if it comes up. Okay, maybe it doesn't. Anyway, there's a playlist on my channel that you can check out. Peter White, appreciate it. Funny story, when I interviewed game devs and book authors, they were all up for drinking with me during the interviews. I've totally stuck out with every voice actor so far. Yeah, because you're always drinking, eh, Pete? Interview with Neil Druckmann. I actually reached out to Neil, never got a response. But I did reach out to him. Cyberpunk had a lot of great talent. Panam and Judy, yeah. 100%, man. Yeah, who cares? It was 3 months ago. You're right. Alright, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll see you all tomorrow, hey, for Dutch Vandalin. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Take care. I really appreciate it. See you later.